Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another episode of Learn to Play Games, and I'm here with Mike from Cool Mini or Not, and we're going to be talking today a little bit about their newest game that's going to be coming out later on next year. So Mike, can you tell me a little bit about this is and what it's all about?
Well, this is the tabletop miniature game based on the works of George R. R. Martin, the book series A Song of Ice and Fire, and it is a rank and file miniature game. Not collectible like any.
Sure.
Sorry, but it's a standard war game that we're making to round out our line.
All right. So, with it being a tabletop game, what kind of approach are you guys doing to make it different than, say, like some of the other tabletop games that are out there right now? Or is this going to be more of a scrimmage game or a full-on war tabletop game where you're going to have tons and tons of miniatures out there?
Well, this is a full rank and file war game. It is not a skirmish game. So you're going to be playing with units of models ranging between the average game size, about 6 to 8 different units.
Okay.
Each army will, of course, have different units. You'll build your army list based on a point system, and you'll go from there. Things that set it apart from other ones, well, so being a rank and file system, it does follow along the same tropes of games of that category.
Okay.
But for our own unique spin, one of the most important things we have is because this is a Song of Ice and Fire setting, we have the tactics deck. Mm-hmm. And so that represents the kind of off-board military tactics and political intrigues that are happening. Because, the setting, more of the characters and more of the battles are actually determined by things that happen outside the battlefield than actually on it. I mean, the amount of characters that have died in combat versus out of combat, you can go 10 to 1 on that.
Exactly, yeah. How important is that aspect of the game to the overall play of the game?
So it is an element of play. If you're a player or even your army strategy is just, you don't want to deal with a lot of political intrigue and stuff like that, then you can still make use of the tactics board via just the kind of passive background stuff going on with your faction. So everyone gets to, experience that even if you don't specialize in it.
Okay.
So let's say you're playing a character like the Mountain. Okay, he's not very, tactically savvy. He's not very politically savvy. He just goes out there and kills stuff on the battlefield.
Absolutely.
Well, every time you pick an army commander, which will have one in your army, they're going to contribute 5 cards to your tactics deck, which is a total of 15 cards.
Okay.
So a full third of your deck is going to be determined by who you choose as your commander. So a large part of your play style and your overall tactics are going to be determined by who is leading your troops on the field. So in this case, I take the Mountain, Gregor Clegane.
Okay.
And he's all about just going out there and killing guys. Mm-hmm. So my tactics are not going to be based around intrigue. They're not going to be based around my wealth, not being based around politics or anything. Mm-hmm. They're just be based around me going out there and killing you. So therefore, my interactions with the tactics board are not going to be as strong as someone who, say, is specialized in that and really want to go the full intrigue route by running, let's say, Tywin, Tyrion, Cersei, any of the Littlefinger, Varys, if they show up or whatnot.
Okay.
Which, it's a play style thing.
Yeah.
So you can go very heavy into your tactics and intrigue. You can go very light. And that means that you're going to have more focus on the battlefield. So while your opponent is running all these background machinations and plots, you're just out there on the battlefield killing guys. And so it's going to put strain on your opponent. Do they have time to actually set up their plans and layers, or are they going to have to immediately react to the threats that are happening on the battlefield?
Very cool. So other than that, being that is going to be a customizable part of the game as you build your army, how else are you going to be able to customize your army? So say me and you are playing a game and we both decide to take House Stark. How can my army be different than, say, your army in that type of situation?
So as mentioned before, it is a points-based system on how you construct your army. Mm-hmm. And currently, and everything I'm saying here is subject to change because the game is still in development, we're looking at 3 main game sizes of small, medium, and large, 25, 50, and 75 points.
Okay.
Units being various points, but even in House Stark itself, I can kind of specialize into the sub-houses that are aligned to them. So one of the units we've showcased so far has been the Umber Berserkers. Mm-hmm. And you can see that Great John Umber, the leader of the house, is on the cover of our box, so no spoilers that he's going to be there.
Okay.
Say I wanted to really run that whole Berserker-style army. I really like that. So I can specialize into House Umber and run just the Umber Berserkers, led by Great John Umber, and really go with that playstyle, versus someone else who might go, man, I really like these Stark Outriders, the light cavalry we have. So I want to be very maneuverable and flexible across the board. I might run more of them.
Okay.
And then you have your basic Stark Sworn Swords, who are your basic troop of the house.
Okay.
I could go, okay, I'm going to run Robb Stark, and I really like these guys, what they do. Could I specialize more into them? It's going to be a little difficult for me to talk about more than that
Sure.
because we've only revealed 3 units for each of the factions. But
Sure.
there will be many options in all the factions to specialize further into little subcategories if you'd like, depending on the units you take.
Okay.
And that's not even getting into just the characters and how they're going to interact with things.
Absolutely. Okay. So, aside from that, the gameplay itself, I've heard that your average game is going to be fairly quick compared to other tabletop games. So you guys were talking about it being like roughly 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Yes.
For a standard size game.
So that's one of the things is that as games have evolved, and actually, people in general have culture has changed. People just don't have as much time as they used to anymore. And this is something we've stressed of all of our games is that while it's nice to sit down and sometimes play a game that lasts 3 to 4 hours, with miniature war games, and I've played them for the better part of 20 years or so.
Yeah.
It's just making one game be an all-day affair can be a little grueling, and I'd rather be able to play a game, get it done fairly quick, and just move on to the next one. It's like, man, that was really cool. Hey, let's play another one, see what happens, or best 2 of 3.
Okay.
And again, depending on the size you want, we made it so the system can scale almost. I'm sorry, I lost the words there, but it scales up infinite.
Okay.
So if you want to play, a quick 25-point, just skirmish little game. I use the word skirmish there again. When I say that, I mean just a few units.
Yeah, exactly.
Not skirmish in the typical war game sense.
Gotcha.
Up to, let's make a weekend affair of this and play, 500 points and just
Epic
just
battle.
recreate the Battle of Whispering Woods with, 2,000 troops on each side. You can do that.
Okay. And with obviously with all the stuff that goes on in the books and some of the massive battles that are out there, is this game going to be able to be played with multiple players playing different armies? So say like 4 of my friends come over, can we play a 5-player game and will it work? Or do we have to team up and have even guys on both sides?
So while the base game is set for one-on-one fight, like most war games, it's definitely able to play multiple players, and we will get some scenarios up there for clashes of like say 5 kings or something like that. So it's not going to be one of those things of like, okay, well we've got to play teams or something. Which hey, you can absolutely play teams if you want.
Yeah.
But one of the niceties about the system is that because we are using an alternating activation system where you activate a unit, I activate a unit, that also means you can expand that to multiple players, and it's always about to be your turn or roughly there. So, say you're playing 4 players. Okay, I'm going to move a unit, you're going to move a unit, and we're going to go around the table fairly quickly here. So no one is going to sit there and feel like they're left out while you're moving all your guys, I'm moving all my guys. Now finally it's your turn to move all your guys.
Okay.
And also with the tactics cards that we have, you're always waiting for that one situation where this is relevant, I could play this. And especially if you're playing multiplayer, then all of a sudden you've got multiple opponents that you can start playing these cards on. So let's say you have 2 opponents over here that are fighting, like, man, I happen to have a card here that is going to instill panic in an enemy that's charged.
Okay.
Well, he's going to charge him. You know what? Maybe, the Starks are going to call in a favor from House Clegane over here and play this card here and give you a bonus. So, and I think that will actually be an interesting thing.
Yeah.
As not only is that something I can just do, but that actually will lead to player interaction across the board here where it's like, hey, do you want to help me out here? I might have something beneficial later to help you because the tactics deck and also some of your unit abilities and things like that are going to lead to some greater options that could appear than would appear in your standard war game where everything is always focused around just your stuff. Because now all of a sudden you have multiple triggers, you have multiple times that you can do things, and then you have multiple opponents and potentially allies that you can play cards on.
Well, and that also fits very thematically in there, obviously, so that's cool. So other than that, how does the actual gameplay work as far as like how did you guys tackle movement? How did you guys tackle like terrain features and combat?
So with movements, that is always one of the mainstays of rank and file systems.
Absolutely.
And is also one of the main contention points of this style of system as well, because you either have to one of the trappings of it is the people that get super, super precise. And it's like, you're just a millimeter off and things like that. Well, the first thing about that is you can pre-measure whenever you want. And I think more games are moving toward that system because we don't expect everyone to be a carpenter and be able to spot check, 24 inches. I remember back in my day when I was playing some of the other war games and whatnot, that was actually some of your key to successes is being able to spot check distances better than your opponent. Like, oh, I know I'm exactly 10.5 inches away from this charge, so I know I'll fail it.
Yep.
But so pre-measuring is one of those things in there. And also, we basically, taken the existing systems that have been around for 20 or so years or whatnot, through all renditions across everything, and just gone like, okay, this is the way we would do it. And a lot of that is more so focused on the having fun and having a tactical experience, and not so much the basic micro math there of going, because no one wants to lose a game because of a couple millimeters.
Exactly.
So that was an important aspect there. For as far as the movement goes.
Okay.
As far as terrain, which is also another mainstay of this style system, and really any miniature war game out there, terrain is always a very heavily impacted part of the game. And you've seen some of the other game systems we released, Dark Age and Wrath of Kings. The terrain system is something that we put a lot of effort into streamlining and making sure that it is accessible and works. So we're back to using a keyword system on this.
Okay.
So you're going to know exactly what each terrain piece does. So for example, you might have a bog or whatnot. It has the dangerous keyword. So if a unit moves over that, then they're going to suffer D6 automatic hits. Or you might have like a pit of bodies or something. It's got the horrific keyword, so you're going to make a panic test when you move into it.
Okay.
So it's all done through a keyword system. To just streamline everything and to make sure that it's accessible, and that again you and your opponent know what it does. Basically, the less time you ever have to spend referencing rules and checking what things do, and the more time you're spending playing, that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Awesome. Okay. And so how big is the rulebook, or should we expect it to be, obviously, since you guys are still kind of working some of the details out? Is this going to be something like some of the older systems where we're expecting, a 50-page rule book, or are you guys really trying to streamline everything to get it down to, I know during the seminar, Eric Lang was continually repeating, it's on one card. So
all these special abilities and everything for a unit is contained on its card.
Okay.
Now we do have a one reference card that shows the unit actions, just for what you can do, but we're not going to have anything like a keyword system where it's like, oh, this attack is sundering, so I need to reference what does sundering do. No, it's written right there on the card.
That's nice.
And so the rules system has been maintained to be a very simple baseline system, and then any of the layers of, I don't want to say complexity, but any of the extra layers of, well, I say complexity is a positive thing.
Okay.
Any of the extra, cool complexity is going to come from on the cards, but even then, it is self-contained right on there.
That's nice.
So the important thing is to keep the rules nice and simple, and then build on those there. So all your core concepts are going to be very simple. And again, I can give someone just the reference card that we made that has your conditions on there, your unit actions, and past that, once you understand, what those terms means, like pivot, maneuver, and those basic movement things, you're going to be able to go.
Okay. Great. So when should we start expecting to see this game? I know you guys were talking about doing the Kickstarter just to get the first base set out. When is that kind of time frame that we should start looking for that?
No, unfortunately, that is not something I can give precise details on. It is coming this year.
Okay.
And so that's actually just the best I can give you right now. But of course, we'll be updating with more announcements and everything as time goes on. So just pay attention to us right there, and we'll let you know.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for taking this interview and taking the time to share with us all this cool information. And so you guys stay tuned, and if more information comes out about it, check my channel, and I will also have information up about it when it's being released on Kickstarter, and then of course when the big retail release is as well. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, so I'm here and I got a chance to take a look at some of the prototype stuff. So I know a lot of you guys are super excited about seeing this stuff, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these really neat miniatures. They are just prototypes right now, so keep that in mind. But this is going to be the first set for House Lannister and House Stark. They'll be coming out on Kickstarter later on this year. And there's going to be a ton of miniatures included in the box. So you'll have 2 full armies. These are going to be pre-assembled and pre-built, and they're going to be color-coded, as you guys can see, so you'll be able to play them right out of the box within minutes of getting the box. And from what we've been told so far, the rules on this game are very, very easy and straightforward. Eric Lang was talking about that pretty much all the information you will need are on a couple of cards and the unit cards that I'll take a look at here in just a minute. But you got some cavalry over there. You'll have some special characters that you guys have come to know from all the books. And each one of the different generals and leaders that you can include in the army will make different effects and cause different things for your troops, and the hand of cards that you have will be specialized to each individual general that is out there. So lots of different options that you guys will have depending upon what playstyle you have and what you include in your army. And you will be able to specialize each one of the armies with new units that they're going to be releasing, so that depending upon who you're playing, which army you've chosen, each army can be unique and will be different from somebody else's army that's playing even the same faction, which is really nice and gives you lots of customized options. So down here, this again will be a prototype, really prototype. They don't even have any artwork on it yet, but as they talked about in the panel, which you guys might have already seen, this is the different ways that you can interact with the battlefields off the battlefield with some special characters you can include that aren't necessarily combat related characters, and will add benefits to your cards. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the miniatures nice up close. And as you can see, these are really nice detailed miniatures, and in this video you'll also see some of those really nice painted miniatures that were professionally done, so you guys can see the potential of the miniatures and what can be done with them. And you'll also get the movement trays that these figures are included on. So like I said, everything will be in that box that you'll be able to just take it right out, put it on the field, and you'll be ready to play within minutes of getting your games. And this is going to be heavily focused for retail stores and that as well. So if you have a favorite retail store that you like to play at, they're going to have organized play kits as soon as this game hits retail, which they were saying will probably be first or second quarter of 2018. So there'll be plenty of different options for players right out of the way, and you'll be able to start tournament play and all that really quick after the game launches. And they will of course add all the different armies as time goes on, and they were talking about having releases at least for retail at least once a month. So I don't know how fast the new armies will come out, but they will have that in there as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at some cards real quick. So as I said, these are all prototype cards. And all the information is included on the card, as you can see. So you have some of the basic movements, the attack styles, and depending upon the ranks, there's different dice levels, and some defense and rallying stuff, and then any special rules that they have are on the sides over here. And each troop will have these, so anything that you need to know is on these cards for quick reference, so you don't have to continually go back to the rulebook, which is really nice and usually unusual for tabletop games, which is neat. So I cannot wait to try this game out. I've been told that we are going to have opportunities throughout the weekend to play. So if I do get an opportunity to play and I'm able to do some recording, I will do my best to get that for you guys so you can see how this game plays in action. All right, talk to you guys later.